Hey guys, it's Frank with Mud Creek Models. In this video, we're going to answer some questions people had about random shake shingles. Hey guys, it's just me again, Frank with Mud Creek Models. We got a couple of questions on YouTube and on Instagram and one on Facebook Messenger asking how we affix these long strips to that short building. It simply requires the roofing material that comes provided in the kit. I use a pair of flush nippers, these are from Tamiya, and some PVA glue or canopy glue that we use. This is in an applicator that you can get from Amazon. It comes with a nice cap here, and I believe a thin gauge needle to put the glue in place, which is kind of nice. When you look on Amazon, you'd be looking for fine line applicators, fine tip, it's 20 gauge. They work fantastic and the glue passes through it no problem. It's got a anti-clog needle attached to it. So let me show you what we do real quick, and hopefully this answers everybody's questions, or the few questions that we actually had. So what I like to do is I use the flush cutters for basically everything, like I said earlier. I'm just going to line it up just like that. I'm going to make a cut a little bit longer than what I actually need so I can make adjustments like that. Then I'm going to take the glue, which like I said is canopy glue in this case, and I'm going to apply a thin strip where I want it to start of glue straight across, make sure it goes all the way to the end. We're going to apply the roof shingle now to here, making sure, if you saw my pet peeve video, which is what sparked all of the questions, you want to make sure that this little gap here is somewhat non-existent. Doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but large gaps drive me crazy. Let's bring this down a little bit like that, and we look good. So you just want to take a step back, take a look at it, make sure that it looks nice and straight in comparison to the other one. Now, people asked how I finish the ends. I'm hoping this was the question you wanted answered, because there's two ends to this. One is the end of the roof, or the side of the roof, and the other one is the area up here, which I'm going to get to in the video a little bit later on. Once you got this on and they've gone all the way up to the top, what I do is I take the flush cutters, I flip the building upside down, and I come in here with my flush cutters, make sure it's flush up against the soffit, just like that. I rock it back and forth, you'll find the home, and clip. Like that. And what that gives you is a nice flush cut edge with a little bit of overhang, like a real roof, as you can see there. Let's see there just in front of my fingernail. So, like I said, you go all the way up. I'm going to return in a second. I just want to get the rest of this roof shingled, and I will show you up at the top what I'm talking about. This is a 2x6. Sometimes I use 2x4 material, but when you put this on the top to finish the roof, you see you have a nice clean edge where the shingles and the board meet. Okay, some people leave it like that. It's not the way you want it to be, but some people leave it like that. So what I'm going to show you is, if that gap exists up at the top between that line and the edge of the board, how do you fill it in? And yes, you're going to think I'm crazy. Okay, so what you can see here is I finished and went all the way to the top, and I'm kind of thankful that we now have the gap between this point here and the top of this area where we're going to put the 1x6 or 2x6, I'm sorry. And I'm going to show you what we do with this, because some people are actually afraid to put glue on the roof shingle itself. So we need to bring that up a little bit so that we can hide the gap between the top of the shingles that are already cut and the bottom of the 2x6. So we're going to start first by taking our flush cutters again and running them along this edge so that you can see that. Again, you're going to get what I consider to be a perfect edge with a very, very tiny bit of amount of overhang. Do the same for the other side. I have to tell you, trying to do the work and video at the same time, keeping the lens in focus and talking all at once is not easy, especially for a guy who can't walk and chew gum all the time at the same time. So now what we're going to do is, we already cut a piece of shingle. We're going to add glue now to the top of this shingle, the shingle before. So we're going to add a very thin bead of glue across the top, like that. Now, instead of gluing to the top area of the shingle, just past that cut line, we're actually going to glue the shingle to the roof. Now, being that we use a particular type of material for our roof shingles, there isn't much flex when you're putting it down, so it makes it a lot easier. So instead of pushing down and getting bleed through like that, which is something you really don't want, but we'll correct that with some chalks later on, you just simply lay it on top, adjust it the best you can, and let it sit until it's completely dry. Cut the two ends and add the board to the top, and you're good to go. Okay, one last or two last items to go over with you. You'll notice that the strip of roof shingles actually extends past the other roof, which is a no-no, because again, you want to put wood up there. A lot of people tend to take this and bend it over. I don't recommend that, because then you're not going to have a nice clean cut point at the top here. So once again, with the flush cutters, we're going to come in, lay it flush against the roof, snip, snip, move that out of the way slightly, and then just continue to snip all the way across, just like that. And of course, while I'm showing you, the roof shingles lift up. So we'll just push these back down, like that. I'm going to give it a little bit more time to dry. Okay, I took the liberty of finishing the cut across the top with the extra that was hanging over onto the other side. Again, you don't want to just fold it over. It just simply doesn't look right at the top of the 2 points here where the two roofs come together. It kind of gets thicker, and it's not very prototypical. What I'm going to do now is just add some glue. A thin bead, doesn't take much, to the entire length of this piece of strip, and I'm going to apply it to the top of the roof like that, and that gives you the appearance that somebody actually cared to finish doing the roof, so the owners of the building didn't get any leaks. Because now you can see a thin strip all the way across, and I know it's minute, but the small details make a difference, especially in N scale. You can see a very small line coming across, and it looks more finished than having a gap like this, which is something we got to fix. You'll also notice that I didn't do the entire roof, meaning that some areas here look like the shingles may have blown off and it exposed the old tar paper roof that was here before they put the random shake shingles on. What I like to do too is just to take a couple of pieces, maybe cut out one or two shingles here and there, and add them to these areas, something like that. And then later on, using a pencil, I'll just put nail holes. You put a pencil on each point and just twist it a little bit to give the lead from the pencil will give it a nail hole look in the shingles, as if the nails are still holding them on, which is kind of cool, and something I learned from Jason Jensen's videos. Jason's a good friend and an incredible modeler. But nonetheless, that just finishes it off nicely. I got to do this side, and we should be done. Okay, I was kind of hoping this didn't happen on this model, but it did in a good way, so that I can show you guys the issue. If I place this shingle here, and I already put that board on, okay, that tells me that this shingle, or the row of shingles, strip of shingles, would have gone past the peak anyway. So how do I make that adjustment? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a ruler, a straight edge, and a sharp blade, and I'm going to lay it across this area here, just above the cut marks of the shingles, so that I'm reducing the dimension from here to the top by cutting some of this off, and it's going to be a thin strip. So now what I did is I decreased the height of the shingle, and I'm going to do a comparison. I'm going to show you. This is the shingle as it comes out of the kit with no modification to it. Then what I did is I simply took the straight edge and I reduced the height by simply making a straight line cut across the top of it. Now when I go to place it in here, I can place it up against the board and it will fit perfectly. Okay, so now I went ahead and I glued in the thinner strip shingle that we created. And now I am just off to the side here, forgive me. I am placing glue on the back side of the piece of wood that's going to go on the model next, like that. I like to butt them on top of each other. Gives a nice cleaner look. Forgive the focus. I'll get my fat thumbs out of the way in a moment. So now what we have is a better finished appearance and no gaps like we were talking about earlier, and it looks like the roofer actually did the right thing. Okay, now we have the finished product. Both strips of wood have been placed on. The roof looks nice and trimmed. One hint while doing roofing, which makes things a little bit easier, especially for me anyway, is that when you're working with the shingles, you don't want to cut the shingles to the exact length of the roof card. You always want to have a little bit extra just sticking out of the sides that you can flush cut off later on. It makes the piece a little bit bigger, and in your mind you're saying, okay, I'm working with something bigger on a small object, I can make this work. And a lot of times that does help. So go a little bit further. In Mud Creek Models kits, we do give you enough shingles to do the roofs, more than enough to do the roofs. I think you probably get half a sheet more, so if you make a mistake or you rip one, you can always go back and fix the mistakes that you're making. So if you go slow for the first couple of times in doing the roof shingles, yours will look like that too. Not that I'm perfect, but it looks pretty good. Natalie and I hope you enjoyed this video, and we're going to have more to come real soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.